Howdy, y'all. Okay, the howdy and the y'all really are not me. I'm your typical tea-drinking, Spice Girls loving, mini driving British girl. But when I moved here to Texas in 2005, I traded my hot tea for some Arizona sweet tea and bought myself a pair of boots so I was rodeo ready. Although still not your typical truck driving Texan, me and my family have fully acclimated to the triple-degree heat from our usually cold and dreary British weather. We changed our bin to a trash can, garage to garage, and we try our best to leave out those extra U's when spelling. Now, when I walk around Texas A&M, people don't even know that I'm not a U.S. citizen until they see my bright yellow Mini Cooper. So, here's a little bit more information about me, who I am, where I'm from, and what I do. I was born in a small town in Scotland while my dad was still working his way through university. And once he graduated with an engineering degree, me and my mom and dad moved 7 hours south to England, where my sister Alex was born. We lived in London for around 7 years and then moved to Chester, a Roman city on the border of Wales. I have never lived somewhere close to the rest of my family, so me, my parents, and sister are extremely close. We never really had the chance for big family gatherings, as we're the only ones that have left Scotland. I pretty much grew up in England, living there from around the age of 1 to 15 until we made the big move to Texas. My dad got an opportunity with an oil company called BHP Billiton, and he took it straight away. I have never in my life seen Texas until I stepped off the plane at George Bush Intercontinental and was bombarded by the extreme humidity in November 2005. When we left the airport, I was mesmerized staring out the window. I expected cowboy hats, boots, cactus, and John Wayne, and instead was greeted by the huge buildings and spaghetti junctions of Houston. It was nothing like I had ever expected, but I fully immersed myself in everything Texan. I remember that November, me and my family walked to the neighborhood pool in our shorts and flippy floppies, ready to swim. But we were so disappointed to find out that the pool was closed. Looking back now, it was maybe in the high 60s, but to us, that was a hot summer's day. Moving from one English-speaking country to another, I was not worried about dialect, but man, was I wrong. I remember trying to talk to people, and people just staring back at me with a blank face, having no idea what I had just said. I really think it should be 2 separate languages, American and British. Sometimes words don't even sound the same, like aluminum and aluminium. The culture is very similar, but it seems like a whole other world sometimes. I remember when I first moved here, somebody seriously asked me if I knew Hermione Granger or if we had SpongeBob in Britain. I can't wait to go back to Britain this summer and visit my family for the first time in 6 years. Well, once in high school, I heard the advisors talking of raising a pig at FFA, and I was sold. FFA in school was my life for the next 4 years. When telling my family back in Scotland about how I was raising pigs for the Houston Rodeo, they thought I was the craziest teenager that ever existed. But raising those 6 pigs was the highlight of my high school years. Hanging out at the barns and rodeos and traveling with the high school horse judging team was such a great experience, though maybe not typical for every high school student. My senior year, I applied and was accepted to Texas A&M, where I began as an animal science major and just this past semester switched to education to teach 4th through 8th grade math and science. I can't wait to graduate and have my own classroom. Well, now here in College Station, I live with my boyfriend Zach of 3 years. We met at a coffee shop when I first moved here. Cute, I know. And up until last year, he was in the Navy. One of my best ever memories was from last May, waiting at the port for him to pull in from his 9-month deployment. We have a pretty awesome dwarf rabbit named Dixie, who really is not a big fan of her leash. My parents live in Katy with 2 great dogs, Bentley, the big old lab, and Scarlett, the pit bull, and my sister, who will attend high school this next year. My dad has such a thick accent still and sounds a little like Shrek. Here in College Station, I work at Texas Veterinary Medical Diagnostic Lab, or as we like to call it, TVMDL, in the histopathology lab. Leaving out the gross details, I cut up biopsy and necropsy tissues for the pathologists to read. Well, that's the high point of me and my life. I think I may be in the running for the most Texan British Girl Award. I love sweet tea and country music, as well as the occasional hot tea and crumpet. I think I have the best of both worlds, just like Hannah Montana, and I see myself spending the rest of my life here in Texas. I wasn't born here, but I sure got here as fast as I could. Thanks, and gig 'em.